Hello and welcome to Untwisted Threads. This is the Rerum Natura Candide. This 70% merino, 30% recycled cotton yarn features 11 colors. The colorway that we chose is Muscari. This 50-gram skein with 185 meters or 202 yards works up as a sport weight yarn. The suggested gauge on a US 1 to 3 or 2.5 to 3.5 millimeter needles is 22 to 24 stitches per 4 inches or 10 centimeters. For our swatch, I will be using a US 3 or 3.5 millimeter needle size. In today's video, we're going to review and score the Rerum Natura Candide using our 5 categories, which are availability, softness, traction, durability, and cost, to help you decide if this is the best yarn for you and your next project. Stay tuned until the end for a few pattern recommendations as well. Would you like to see how all of our yarns compare to one another or enter to win our monthly giveaway? Join our free newsletter linked in the description box below. Let's get started. For availability, we give Candide a score of 2 out of 5. The Rerum Natura is a French-based yarn company that started in 2012. With that being said, it unfortunately is currently not as widely available here in the States as perhaps it is overseas. However, there are a few smaller yarn shops that carry this particular yarn, like La Mercerie and Ritual Dyes. For softness, we give it a score of 3.4 out of 5. This yarn is made from the wool of Arles merinos raised in organic farming in Provence and from cotton recycled on the spot by the spinning mill. Maybe it's a result of the cotton fiber being recycled or the type of cotton that it is, but this yarn was just too rustic or irritating for my sensitive skin to work with. It reminded me of Scabier's Terrazzo, another yarn that uses recycled fibers, and that was also not as soft as we were hoping. Personally, a 3.5 softness score is my tolerance level, and this yarn was just too far over it for me to be able to enjoy. For comparison, it is softer than Sandnes Garn Peer Ghent, and not quite as soft as Cascade Yarns 220, a Peruvian highland wool. I'd say it's pretty comparable to Yamamuro's Ökologisk Summer Old, which actually has the same fiber content of this yarn too. For a micron count or softness scale rating, we'd give it around a 28 or even a 29, whereas my comfort level is at a 27 micron count or softer. It felt like the cotton was dry, and maybe the merino just wasn't soft enough on its own to give this yarn a bounce or add enough softness to it. I could work with it in small increments, but would need to take a lot of breaks. Now, I do have fairly sensitive skin, and you may not have the same opinion of this yarn as I do. We always recommend you feeling or trying a yarn out so that you can form your own opinions on it. When it comes to breathability, cotton and merino are both great at letting air pass through, so for the summer, it could be a great choice for a garment. For traction, we give it a score of 3.5 out of 5. It had a good grip, and I experienced no splitting, even with it being a 2-ply yarn. Sometimes a looser ply or even a yarn with an extensive amount of plies have the tendency to split. But for its rating, this yarn was just not as enjoyable with its dryness. It just became more rustic and irritating to my skin as time went on, and I was only knitting a small swatch. I also noticed some uneven stitches before and even after blocking. For durability, we give it a score of 4 out of 5. As far as yarns go, cotton is a very durable choice. It has a high tensile strength, meaning that it is incredibly long-lasting. Now, cotton does tend to stretch and drag when it gets wet, as it soaks water and gets heavy. It also doesn't hold its shape as you would expect an animal fiber to do. Now, merino yarns are more delicate since it is a softer, finer fiber. and I do imagine that the merino helps the cotton to hold its shape. When it came to the stress test, it didn't pill when testing it fabric to fabric, and only very small pills formed when feeling the swatch with my hands. This yarn is also not superwash treated. It is recommended to wash your knitted fabric in lukewarm water with a suitable soap or detergent and leave it to dry flat, away from direct sunlight, avoiding rubbing or stretching. For cost, we give it a score of 3.9 out of 5. For being a 50-gram skein, you can expect to pay $10 US per skein. That breaks down to about 5 cents per yard, meaning a size medium sweater would cost approximately $60. Overall, we give the Rerum Natura Candide a score of 3.36 out of 5. This yarn was a lot more rustic than we were expecting. Unfortunately for me, I will not be gravitating towards this particular yarn in the future, but I would be interested in trying some of the other yarns that this company have available. So we had a little look on Ravelry and wanted to share a few pattern recommendations with you, hopefully to inspire you if you're wanting to use this yarn for a project of your own. The first pattern is the Flocon sweater by Rui Yamamuro. It comes in 9 sizes with finished bust measurements ranging from 41 1/4 to 61 inches and recommends approximately 8 to 14 inches of positive ease. It is a simple garment with a subtle texture created by the ridged slip stitch pattern. It is knit from the top down, starting flat with the back and front yoke panels. After the underarms, the stitches are joined in the round and knitted down to your desired length. Stitches are then picked up around the armholes for the sleeve, and the cap is shaped with short rows. The sleeve is then knit in the round with a ridged slip stitch. To finish, stitches are picked up around the neck opening and worked in twisted rib for the collar. The next pattern is the Nonna vest by Yeti Knits. It comes in 6 sizes with finished bust measurements ranging from 35 3/4 to 58 1/2 inches. It is worked from the bottom up, back and forth in one piece, including the button bands. The body is divided into 3 pieces at the underarms, and each piece is worked upwards to the shoulders, which are joined using a 3-needle bind-off. Once the shoulders are complete, each neckband is worked further towards the center back neck and joined together using a 3-needle bind-off. Lastly, stitches are picked up around the armholes and worked in the round in a 1x1 twisted rib. The last pattern is the Ringa Pullover by Strict Outside Designs. It comes in 11 sizes with finished bust measurements ranging from 35 3/4 to 56 1/4 inches and recommends 4 inches of positive ease. It is a casual V-neck pullover with narrow stripes, worked in stockinette stitch with a ribbed hem and cuffs. It is worked from the top down and also includes slight A-line shaping in the lower body down to the ribbed hem. Have you used the Rerum Natura Candide yarn before? What yarn would you like for us to do a review on next? We would love to hear your thoughts and recommendations in the comments below. If you enjoyed today's review, please give this video a like and subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you next time.